my family and I are praying for y'all. You know, I can never bring myself to tell somebody that I'm going to kill them and that I'm going to, you know, like I've received and my family's received absolutely horrible threats about this. And, you know, I want people to know that our faith with the Lord is stronger and means more to us than anything. And we all trust in the Lord, and for the Lord to reveal the truth. And I know that's what will happen because I have faith and my family has faith.
The doors of the church are open. Okay, let's get straight to the point. This Nolan Wells case is all over the place. It's going left to right like the Cupid shuffle. Now, Nolan Wells' alleged best friend, who is like a brother to him, Warren Hudson, the son of the Jackson County Chancery Court Judge Ashley Cole, is back for another part of his interview with YouTuber and blogger Brandon Tatum. Now, in this part of this interview, starting off, he is actually going to talk about the confrontation about Nolan family and friends retrieving Nolan's cell phone. And he actually stated that Nolan family and friends basically kicked his door in.
Let's go back to the first engagement you had when it comes to the family or somebody coming back to get the cell phone and keys. When did that occur and what happened there?
Okay, well, that night, about 12:30, I went back to my buddy's house.
And you said the night of the 4th?
The night of the 4th, but it was about 12:30, I would like to say. And so I went back to my buddy's house that I stayed the night before, where we all met up, you know, and stayed together the night before. And my buddy got a call from this guy, and the guy was like, oh, like, you know, like, what's going on with all this Nolan stuff? Very aggravated. I mean, yeah, every right to be, but I mean, we were trying to calm him down, and like, he was just like, oh, like, where y'all at? My buddy said, you know, we're at my buddy's house, and he said, all right, and then he just hung up. And so about 30 minutes later, I'd like to say, all of a sudden the door just got open and slammed, and there was a girl who walked in, and like probably about 8 or 9 guys behind her, and then another mom, which was Javon's mom. And
who is Javon? I want to put that in perspective. Who is Javon?
Javon is one of Nolan's good friends. He's a friend of mine too, you know, like, great guy. And his mom and their family is, you know, very close with, you know, the Wells family. And I mean, so I don't know why she was there, like what was going on, but I was very surprised by this. I was like, you know, like, you just basically like kicked the door open and, you know, bust up in the house with no knock or anything.
So is Javon black or white?
Javon's mixed. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I guess he's mixed.
Yeah.
So, but he's not white.
You know, he's not white.
Just white.
Yeah.
Or all white, I guess you might call it.
Yeah.
So then they come in the house. Do you know any of these people? And
I know some of the guys.
the mom, but do you know anybody else?
I've seen the mom before, and I know most of them. Most of the guys went to high school with me, and like, I'm friends with some of the guys. I mean, you know, I know some of them. So eventually, like, things started to get heated, and I was just like, a guy I was friends with in high school, he was like, man, come outside with me. And I was like, all right. And I walked outside with him, and he was like, man, I don't know why, like, they're panicking, and, you know, like, this is just, like, I think Nolan's just on somebody's couch. He's been drinking all day. He's just messed up, and, you know, this is nothing that we have to worry about. As much as, you know, I sat there and I told him, I was like, you know, I agree. I would think, you know, he's on somebody's couch, just had been drinking all day and just, you know, drank too much and was super intoxicated. And, you know, that's kind of what a lot of us thought, but they were kind of losing it and they were going crazy. And the mom that was with them demanded Nolan's phone, because Nolan left the phone on the boat. And when we ran in, Nolan didn't ask for his phone, and his keys were not on the boat, because his car was parked at my buddy's house where we had all slept, you know, the night before the 4th. And so the keys were left at the house because Nolan's car was at my buddy's house where we stayed at. So of course he left his keys there. But his phone, I mean, he was drinking. He didn't have his phone in the water because no one did. And I mean, there was more than just Nolan's phone that wasn't on the boat with us.
So it was more than just Nolan's phone that was on the boat.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously had all our phones, but on the boat, but those weren't the only people. Like Nolan wasn't the only person that left a phone on the boat. There was a lot of people that left phones on the boat, not that didn't ride out or in with us. So I mean, there was a couple phones that we had that we didn't know who they belonged to, and my buddy's got that figured out, but it wasn't just Nolan's phone that, was on the boat who wasn't there. There was a lot of phones.
So when they barged in, they started getting frantic. The mom asked for Nolan's phone.
Right.
Was there a struggle over it, or did you guys hand it over?
I mean, just handed it over. I mean, we didn't think anything of it. Like, she asked for Nolan's phone. We knew they were close friends with, the Wells family, and my buddy went out to his truck and handed the phone over. No complications, no issue, nothing. But I mean, I told Miss Christine that we had his phone and he had left it in our possession on the boat.
When did you? Miss Christine is Nolan's mom.
Correct.
When did you talk to her about that?
When I was on, no, I didn't talk to her once. Like it was like 12:30. I mean, I might have texted her a couple times and talked briefly about a couple things, but I never. I told her on the phone before I called the Coast Guard that we had Nolan's phone. Before I called Miss Christine, I asked, I was like, oh, well, where's his location at? Because Nolan had his Snapchat location on for me. And he said, it's Wyatt said it's, in my truck. Like, because everybody who left stuff on the boat, it was Wyatt's boat, so Wyatt put it in his truck, it's just normal. And so the phone was in possession in Wyatt's truck. And when that mom came over and asked for it, there was no issue at all with us giving the phone to her. I mean, Nolan just left it on the boat. We handed the phone to her that night of the 4th of July.
And did you guys go through the phone, or?
Of course not. I mean, none of us had a reason to go through Nolan's phone. I mean, there's multiple phones on the boat. Why would it be? And the boat was having issues. Why would our concern be getting on Nolan's phone or something? I mean, I don't even know Nolan's password. None of my friends do. We had no reason ever to get on Nolan's phone and look at anything. I didn't even touch Nolan's phone. None of us touched Nolan's phone until somebody took it off the boat and put it in Wyatt's truck, and then no one touched it until we handed it back, to the mom that was at my buddy's house.
I think we can all agree that Warren wasn't feeling how Nolan family friends came over to the house. He described it basically as they kicked his door in. Boom! So you can tell, you can look at his whole demeanor. He wasn't feeling it. But you have to understand the reason why the family, was a little aggressive. Nolan went out to Horn Island. It's the 4th of July. His mother then got a call saying, basically your son is missing. Don't nobody know where he's at. The phone is being tracked over here to this house where these guys at. So they're a little upset because in their mind, something is fishy and it ain't seafood.
All right. So I have something I want to make sure that we're clear about. Mm-hmm. Because you had mentioned earlier that you saw Nolan cradling Katie.
Right.
Her name is Katie.
Yeah, Katie.
I just want you to explain, what does that mean? Some people in their mind, they may think he's cradling like a baby.
Yeah.
Like what is that scenario look like?
He was. I mean, Nolan was off. The last time I saw him, like I said, I was off the bow of the boat, and like I said earlier, if you had jumped off the bow of the boat, you were probably about chest or neck deep in water. So Nolan wasn't like carrying her out the water. She's sitting in the water and Nolan's arms are under the water and he's carrying her from under the water, but her head's still out of the water, Nolan's head's still out of the water, and I was looking at both of them, so.
Oh, so he's kind of like holding her.
Right,
Kind of like,
in the water though.
I mean, like we grown, right? There's two people in the water, they feeling each other, like meaning feeling they like each other.
Right.
And
that was obvious.
He's a little more close to her and they're kind of having a moment.
Correct.
Not insinuating that it's sexual, but
no, of course not.
They're together, they like each other. Mm-hmm. You looking at him, you like, bro, you crazy. Because you know that he like her and he's hanging out with her.
Yeah, right. Okay. Exactly.
That makes sense. And when was the last time that you saw Nolan? And then when was the last time that someone reported to you that Nolan was seen? Okay. If that makes sense.
Yeah, of course.
You saw him at a certain point, but then someone else saw him a lot later when you guys were gone.
Right. Okay. So the last time I personally laid eyes on Nolan was at like 3 o'clock, and he was, in front of the boat with the girl, and that's the last time I saw him. But there were, I've talked to somebody personally that saw Nolan at 6 o'clock, and someone, we weren't even the last people to see Nolan. Once we left, there were still dozens on dozens on dozens of boats around us. And I mean, clearly we were not the last people to see Nolan.
So Warren, I'm going to ask you some very pointed questions. I mean, just straight out.
Okay.
I didn't come down here to, do anything other but to get the truth,
right,
and for you to have a voice in this.
Right.
And the first thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan?
Of course not.
Did you have anything to do with Nolan's death?
Of course not. And absolutely not.
Come on, man. That was a dumb question. You're doing a good job, Brandon, with the interview. Shout out to you. But you ain't stepping on no toes by asking that question. You didn't put your foot on the ground. That was a dumb question. Let's be honest. Even if let's say he did do it, did something to Nolan, why would he choose 2 weeks later to come on a podcast on YouTube? And when someone asks him, did you unalive Nolan? And you expect him to give you a Mississippi yes? Come on, man. You could have kept that question. Now, in the next part, he is finna talk about responding to Nolan Wells' mom, claiming that him and Nolan ain't good friends. He said, slow down, lady. Rest in peace to your son, and what's going on. But Nolan was my friend, and you are not telling the truth about that.
The mom acts like, or at least she portrayed on television, and the rumors are that you weren't really good friends with Nolan. Is that true or not?
Absolutely not. I hung out with Nolan probably like 3 days a week. I mean, seriously, at least. Some days my friends want to hang out every single day, and Nolan was always there. So,
and obviously people may see this and know the facts later,
right,
that you weren't able to go to the funeral, mm-hmm, or the memorial service.
Right.
Why didn't you go? What was that?
Well, I mean, with everything going on social media right now, and with people saying the crazy things that they're saying, I would never want to take the attention off of Nolan and his family. They don't deserve that. And, for own personal reasons, I mean, I've gotten thousands of death threats. My family's got thousands of death threats. And, for my own safety, I'm not going to put my own health and safety at risk. It breaks my heart that I can't go, and it hurt me more than anything. Because, obviously I want to say my last goodbyes to one of my best friends. But, I mean, if I'm getting thousands of death threats with people saying they're going to kill me and do crazy things to my family and I couldn't bring myself to go because, I got to put my own safety first. And even if that means, missing my friend's funeral, I mean, it's horrible, and I wish I could have been there, but that's what's been going on,
Now, I absolutely do not blame him and the other friends for not attending Nolan Wells' funeral, because what were they going to do? Show up? Everybody online on social media has painted all the friends as the ones who allegedly done something to Nolan. So if they show up to the funeral, what do you really think was going to happen? Me personally, I don't think they would have even been welcome into the church. You got to realize that the whole social media, everybody in the world, national attention is kind of low key pointing at them as somebody needs to arrest them. And then you expect them to show up to the funeral? I agree with him on not doing that. There wasn't a time and place. Was it messed up that he wasn't able to attend someone that he, considered his best friend? Yeah, it's messed up that he's not able to attend a funeral. But that's how the cookie crumbles when stuff like this happens, and there's a lot of unanswered questions.
Was Nolan the only black person on that island?
Absolutely not. I saw a lot of black people. And like I said, I mean, it's not pointing out or anything. I mean, I wasn't looking at that, but my buddy Trayson was out there, and he's mixed. Javon was out there, he's came out, he's mixed. I know a bunch of my friends that are black that were out there that day that I haven't even mentioned. I mean, Nolan was not the only black person out there, by no means. I mean, like, there was thousands of people out there, white, Mexican, black, everyone.
And in the friend group, is Nolan the only black person in the friend group?
Absolutely not. My buddy Trayson's black. I have other friends of color. I mean, our friend group's very tight, and we have a not a small group of guys, but we have we have 10 to 12 guys in my friend group, and we're all from Ocean Springs, and we grew up together. But Nolan is not the only black guy in my friend group.
Okay, we get it. Nolan wasn't the only black person on the island on the 4th of July. Whoop-de-doo. I feel like the real question is still not being answered that's surrounding this whole thing. And that is, what happened to Nolan? It's not about how many black people was on the island, how many white people was on the island. That's not the real true depth of this whole thing. People just want to know what happened to Nolan. That's it. What happened to Nolan Wells? Nolan went out there with 29 other people between 3 boats. He was hanging with a girl named Katie. He got other friends out there. It was reported to be thousands and thousands of people on the island, all around it, from west to east, north, south. But Warren mentioned before that right there where they parked their boats at was easily hundreds to 1,000 some people probably around in that area. Even when they left, and all those people that's out there on that island, how is it that no one at all can say what happened to Nolan last when they seen him? Because he was with somebody. His friends gone. They left. They got problems with the boat. Nolan stayed behind. But still, he had to be with somebody, and somebody saw something. That's the real thing, is somebody is not speaking up, and somebody knows something. Now, in his next part, Roman is going to talk about how he feels that with Nolan being good friends with him and the other guys, he feels that Nolan will be upset that this is going on and people are accusing him.
Nolan is one of the nicest and sweetest people I've ever met. I mean, seriously, he had no hate in his heart whatsoever. I think if Nolan knew this was going on, he'd be sick to his stomach. I mean, Nolan hated all hate and arguing and drama. He didn't like any of that. So, I mean, I think if Nolan knew this was going on, he'd be very, very upset. I mean, it's horrible. If he knew his friends were getting these threats and, we were, felt threatened for our lives, I mean, Nolan would be traumatized if he was here, and if he knew that. I mean, he was a person of no violence, and he had a really good heart. He would hate it.
So after all that's been said in this interview, do you have any theories about what could have possibly happened to Nolan?
My buddies and I have talked about it, and like I said, I mean, I've been on the water my entire life. My friends have. It's not like we're unexperienced in this, but Nolan was my best friend, and he was my friend's best friends, and he was like a brother to me. And more than anything, and the thing that's most important is what happened to him. And I want to know just as much as anybody else. I mean, that's all. My friends haven't stopped talking about that. What happened, and just trying to figure it out. But I would never want to put it on somebody else because of the hate that I've received for just being out there around them, and my name getting brought up because I called the Coast Guard. I was the first one to call the Coast Guard. I mean, I don't know, and I want to know more than anybody. I mean, my friends and I are have been wondering this for a while, and we just want to know as much as anybody else what happened to him. But I would never want to sit here and blame anybody else and put this on anybody else because of the hate and death threats that my family and my friends have received. It's horrible, and I would never want someone else to experience that.
Warren has the same question that everybody else has, and that is what happened to Nolan. He said he want to know. He said his friends want to know. They want to know too. I still feel like I'm gonna stand on it. I still feel like Warren is telling the truth. Now he done had some inconsistencies in timeline and times and stuff, but I still feel like he is telling the truth. I personally feel like whatever happened to Nolan happened when they left. I could be wrong. Now in this next part, Warren is going to finally address the whole thing of why him and his friends deleted their social media and also lawyered up.
I mean, of course we lawyered up, and of course, I deleted my social media. I was getting death threats before anything ever came out because I was the one that called the Coast Guard. I mean, people put this all on me because I was the one that called. I was the one that was, worried. My friends were just as well. I mean, of course I deleted all my social media. I was getting insane death threats, like stuff I couldn't even believe 2 days after. And, we went straight to the police. I wanted the police to come and ask questions. I wanted them to know and have all of my information. I got off of social media because there were people saying insane things to me and my family, and I just couldn't sit there and look at it.
One thing about social media, you can go viral for something good or you can go viral for something bad. And if you go viral for something bad, it's going to be a long process before everything slows down. Because once people get it in their minds and they see everything else, kind of like saying the same thing, you have a lot of people who know nothing about what's going on who's going to follow suit. And that's one thing about going viral on social media. And that's what they did. They went viral. They was on pictures. They was with him. And then when Nolan Wells came up missing, then later was found dead, boom, they did it. That's just how social media works. And then the fact that Nolan was the only black guy in most of the pictures that was posted from him being with that group, automatically people like, yeah, they did it. That's just how the cookie crumbles. Is it right? No. But that's just how it is on the internet. Like I say, Nolan was with somebody out there. I think these guys left. I think that whatever happened to Nolan happened with whomever he was with after all his friends left. Who that person was that he was with, if it ain't Katie, then who is it? Everybody said he went with Katie. He stayed with Katie. Katie said, no, not me. For it to be so many people on this island, what happened? Did Nolan go walk off into the water and then come back? If that was the case, then the people that he was with, why not say, hey, Nolan didn't come back? Did he get off the boat right there and drown right there by the boat or something? I mean, it's just too many eyes and ears out there for somebody not to see or hear something. And whoever he was with, let's say, okay, now when we all leave, everybody needs to leave. Did they do a check and say, hey, where's Nolan at? That's why some people feel like, what's going on? Did all the boats leave and Nolan told everybody, hey, I'm going to stay on the island by myself without no phone and I'll walk back. But y'all get in the comments there what y'all think. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like and share my videos. I'm Gertie Mac. Holla.